Today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the new FlyFish Volador VD4 and it's a 4-inch cinematic FPV frame. Now 4-inch is a bit of a strange size. It's usually reserved for ultralight long-range builds like the Flywoo Explorer, but there are a couple of exceptions to that rule, things like the iFlight Nazgul Evoke F4, but that one is quite loud and heavy. So the question that we're asking today is, has FlyFish RC figured out the secret sauce to a 4-inch cinematic frame? Well, this is the new VD4. It is their Dead Cat cinematic 4-inch frame, and it is actually only a frame-only version. There is no bind and fly here. Now, I love flying my 3.5-inch drones, with the Volador 3.5 actually being one of my personal favorites, but the only issue there is it's a 2x configuration, so you have the props in view, so it's no good really for cinematic flying. So when I saw that FlyFish had launched this guy, I had to get it straight away. So quick disclaimer, I bought everything I needed to build this drone myself. Nothing here was sent to me for free. So firstly, we're going to build this thing up. I'm going to give you my thoughts on how it goes together and the overall kit. I'm also going to show you what components I actually used to put together this VD4 in case you want to build something similar. We're then going to tune it, fly it, and see just what it's capable of. Okay, so taking a look at the kit, first of all, it's actually a really nice premium feeling kit, which is a surprise considering it's only $49.99, but FlyFish RC actually used T700 carbon on this, which is one of the better quality grades of carbon fiber that we see typically in FPV drones. We also have a fully aluminum front CNC camera cage, and it's actually mostly running M3 hardware throughout, and typically on 3.5-inch builds, we normally see M2, and M3 is just a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, so it's nice to see that they're using M3 hardware all around this drone. It is actually quite a beefy little drone, and obviously it's designed for 4-inch propellers, being that VD4. There is loads of good hardware included. We've got all the 3D prints, including these new side plates, which are going to give it a much more premium put together feel once it's all actually built. You also have silicone dampers at the front for the camera cage, and these can suit either a 19 or a 20mm camera, so it kind of covers you across most of the cameras here. 04 Pro, 03, Walk Snail. There are loads of different variations of cameras that actually fit in this frame. You also get various different battery pads, including a super sticky one, which I am very happy to see. I love using these style of battery pads. You just know that in a crash, that battery is not going to move anywhere. So yeah, you get everything that you need to actually put this thing together, and it goes together really nicely. And one of the things I like about FlyFish RC is they include a diagram showing you how the frame goes together, where all the hardware goes, which screws to use where. So it takes a lot of that guesswork out and just lets you know that you're actually putting things in the correct spot. So when it comes to the components that I actually used to build this thing, for the stack I went with the SpeedyBee F405 mini stack. It is a 20x20, and if you do want to run the side plates, you are going to have to use a 20x20 stack. There are also specific cutouts in the side plates, so I had to orient the stack backwards to how I would normally mount it, so make everything sort of line up properly. And that means I've got the power lead coming out of the front to line up the USB port in the correct side, and there's also plenty of space behind the camera there for me to mount the capacitor. When it comes to the back end side of things, there's actually a couple of different 3D prints depending on if you want to run a GPS or no GPS, so they give you 2 in the box, so it's nice that you've got those options. And when it comes to GPS, I'm actually using the FlyFish M10 GPS that was designed for this particular 3D print. Fits beautifully, everything just goes together nicely there. When it comes to motors, I chose the Deep Space Ether 2006, and these are 2550 kV. So I'm planning to run this on 6S because I've got a lot of like 6S 850 batteries lying around from my 3.5-inch builds. I'm going to be using those same batteries on this. Because these motors are a little bit high on the kV for 4-inch 6S in my opinion, I am going to be running a 90% motor limit on there, also just so I don't pull too much out of the batteries because they are only a slightly smaller capacity. When it comes to the receiver, I'm going to be running the Radiomaster RP4TD, which is a true diversity receiver, and it is actually a little bit too big for the included receiver mount that comes with it. I decided to design my own receiver mount to put on the bottom instead, 3D printed that, but it was still a little bit too small, and in the end this ended up being a complete waste of time because it turned out there was plenty of space inside the frame to fit the receiver anyway. I also designed and 3D printed this little cover to go over the capacitor hole on the frame. Because I was mounting my capacitor at the front, I just wanted to cover this up and make everything look a little bit neater and more polished. I also decided to go with the 04A Unit Pro because this is going to be a cinematic build. I don't want to run an action camera on this, so the 04 Pro is the perfect candidate for this job. When it comes to packaging this whole thing together, it is actually quite a tight build, especially if you decide like me to run these side plates. Now, there is actually mounting options for 20x20 or 30x30 stack configuration. A 30x30 stack is not going to fit in here with the side plates on. You will have to run it without the side plates, but a 20x20 will fit in there nicely with the side plates on. You will have to be a little bit cunning with how you route your motor wires and stuff to get it all to fit nicely, but it definitely is possible. And when it comes to getting everything lined up for the side plates, the 04 Pro just rests on some spacers there, and then everything lines up perfectly with the 3D prints. I did have to space out my stack a little bit in order to get that USB port to line up at the top, but again, with a little bit of patience, consideration, and a bit of thought going into the build, everything lines up nicely and you end up with a really clean looking drone. I also like the extra touches that came in the kit, like these washers that go on the bottom side of the frame. Again, all of this just comes together to give yourself a little 4-inch drone that looks really, really premium. We've got that distinct FlyFish luminous yellow here. They do also do a black option, but I kind of like the FlyFish yellow, and to match those I went with these Gemfan 4023 props in sort of neon green. I thought that was quite a nice match up to the yellow, and yeah, overall I think it looks pretty smart. When it comes to weight, this is not a super lightweight build. It is a very beefy looking frame, and mine actually came to 314 grams without a battery, and with a battery it was 446. But it definitely looks like it's going to be able to take a good crash, so that's just the trade-off there for slightly higher weight. And it is still not like a heavy drone, but it's not an ultralight sub 250 type build. This is a little bit more beefy, built to take a bit more punishment, and I have other drones that can sort of fill that sub 250 gap, so for me that was not really much of a concern. Okay, so that's an overview of the frame, all the components that I used to put this thing together. Let's now head out and see my first flight of the VD4. Okay, so it's time for the first flight now of the VD4. We've got a lovely sunny evening today here in Bali, so it's the perfect time to test it out. The aim of this, just to get a good feel for it on the Betaflight stock PIDs. It should fly okay, and yeah, just see how this frame handles. Let's get it up. Okay, so we're powered up now. Getting satellites already, 8 satellites. Wow, that was pretty quick. That was definitely less than a minute. I didn't even get around to doing my camera settings. Let's have a look, see how it goes. And we're up. Beautifully smooth. Wow. This is on stock Betaflight PIDs, which are normally pretty good for around a 5-inch. This is a 4-inch, so it's very close to the sort of ideal setup. Wow, this is super smooth. It's about as loud as I expected. A little bit louder than a 3.5, but really not that bad. Okay, let's give it a bit of a zip. Let's see what sort of amps we're pulling. Not that many. Giving it a bit of a rip. Getting into the sort of 20s. Let's give it a full throttle. 60 amps. That's not bad. I'm really surprised how smooth it is on the stock PIDs. I expect it to be a bit more twitchy, but it feels pretty tight. Everything looks like it's working as expected. Bit of prop wash there, but I sat it into it to check. Oh yeah, it's nice. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's better than I was expecting, if I'm honest. Wow, very good. Yeah, I'm not really flying this as lightly as I would have expected for the first flight, but we got to have some fun with it. I'm really impressed how good it is on the stock PIDs. I will PID tune it, but yeah, it is nice. It's really nice. Sling it through here, not a problem. Over the tops of these trees. It's got that FlyFish feel. It feels very similar to my Volador 3.5. It does feel heavier because it is a bigger, heavier craft. But it's still got that sort of, I don't know, there is a FlyFish feel. I like it. I do like it. What's my battery at? 3.6. We've been flying for 4 minutes. I would have said this is 4 minutes of definitely not easy flying. Wow. I don't know why, I feel like I'm just smiling a lot. Okay, again, a bit of a low battery pull now. We're at what? 4.5 minutes. We'll juice this battery a little hard. Let's bring him back. Okay, post-flight check-in. The motors are barely even warm to the touch. Battery's feeling a little bit warm because I was juicing it pretty hard there. But yeah, I'm gonna stick another battery in, have fun. I'm surprised at how well this flew on the stock tune. Very nice. A bit of prop wash there that we can fix in tuning in another day. But yeah, as first flight impressions go, I'm a happy boy. I'm sure I was smiling for a lot of that flight because it's just giving me a similar FlyFish feel to the Volador 3.5, which I love flying so much, but just on a slightly bigger platform. We don't have those props in view, so we can use this more for cinematic purposes. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy another pack, and then I'll get back to you in a few seconds. So the first flight left me with some really good impressions, and it's now time to do a bit of PID tuning here on the VD4 to get it really nicely locked in. So I spent a couple of hours tuning the PIDs and filters, and like I saw during the first flight, the default PIDs were already very close to optimal. I reduced the filtering a bit overall, and I ended up with these filter settings and these PID settings. So if you build a similar setup, feel free to try this too. Like I said, stock PIDs were already very close. I use PID Toolbox to do all of my sort of PID tuning. So yeah, those are the PIDs I ended up with. If you build the same, try them out. All right, so we're now going to do a little bit of cinematic flying here with the VD4 to see how it holds up. I did go out yesterday to try and do some filming in the middle of the day. It was okay, and I also tried at sunset, but then I got a bit catfish there and the weather just didn't turn out to be what I would have liked. So I've come out again today. We've got this massive expanse of rice fields here in Bali. Tuning is all done, so I'm really excited to see how this thing performs. And something else that's also quite exciting is the other day I treated myself to a new radio. So today I'm also going to be spending some time with the TX15 Max, getting a bit used to it. So if my flying isn't quite up to par, I'm still getting used to the form factor and the sticks and things. So yeah, this is going to be a fun day. Let's see how she does in these incredible rice fields. It's actually been really windy lately here in Bali, so all the cinematic footage that you're seeing was actually filmed in around 25 to 30 mile-an-hour winds. But even in those high wind conditions, this little drone was holding up beautifully. If you want to learn to fly like this and create epic cinematic FPV footage, then you can check out my Cinematic FPV course, which is the fastest way to becoming a confident FPV pilot who knows how to safely operate their FPV drone and capture epic cinematic footage like this with it. And everything that you see throughout this video has been color graded with my premium cinematic look collection designed especially for D-Log M drone footage, and I will leave that linked in the video description along with the link there to my Cinematic FPV course. So as you've just seen there, the footage coming out of this is beautiful. There is no issues here with jello or anything. It is super smooth, it flies beautifully, and it really does inspire a lot of confidence. And even whilst I was still getting to grips there, getting used to my new radio, I was happy to put it through some gaps and get some nice low flying going on. It is actually just really confidence inspiring. And something else I want to note when it comes to camera angles, there is actually a limit here. It only goes as low as 15 degrees, but it goes all the way up to about 60. So it is going to be a bit limited here when it comes to the slower end of flying. For me, that wasn't really too much of an issue because I actually prefer to fly at between 25 and 35 degrees anyway. So for me, it's okay. And I like to have a bit more speed and momentum when I'm flying a drone of this kind of size and weight. When it comes to battery life, I was getting around about 5.5 minutes of cinematic flying using that 6S 850. And if I was ripping around doing some freestyle, that kind of stuff, then I would get around 4 minutes of flying there. At no point during any of my flying did I also get any overheating of the flight controller or ESC, anything like that. I was flying on some really hot days too, but They actually have some channels here where air can get nicely through these side plates and out the back to keep everything nice and cool. Something else that I was also really enjoying is because I put the latest beta flights on there, 2025-12, with position hold and altitude hold, it makes flying this a whole lot easier when you need to change your camera settings or something. I was doing a sunset flight and the conditions were changing a lot, so I could just hit the position hold button, comes to a stop, change my camera settings, flick it off and carry on flying again. It's great to have that sort of avatar mode here, and if you're running the latest beta flight firmware, I recommend you set that up too. Okay, so let's have some closing thoughts here on the 4-inch size and this frame in particular. So I actually have really enjoyed this 4-inch platform, and because this drone in particular is a little bit heavier, it's got some nice inertia and fling to it, which can help a lot with different freestyle moves, and it actually doesn't feel heavy at all to fly, probably because I've paired it with some nicely matched motors and 6S powertrain. It actually flies really nice. It's got plenty of power, even with that 90% motor limit in there. It has got plenty of power in this small package to deliver some nice high energy cinematic flying, but it's also a little freestyle ripper if you want to do that, you know, on the side too. Now, one of the benefits of a smaller drone like this is the fact that it's a lot more portable, and this luckily still even fits into my smaller size backpack. So it's really nice that I can chuck it in a backpack. I don't have to strap it to the outside or anything like that. I can just head out to fly with a much lighter weight backpack, and it still has a lot of that 5-inch feel to it, but just in a smaller, lighter, more portable package. So like I said, recently I have been flying a lot of 3.5-inch drones. I really do like that size class. This is just that little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. It's going to be a bit better in windy conditions, and to be fair, all the cinematic flying that I was doing here was in very, very windy conditions, and it held up beautifully. So this is definitely going to be joining the lineup and coming out with me on more cinematic adventures. I think FlyFish have absolutely nailed it here with the VD4. It's a really nice premium looking and feeling frame. It flies really nicely, and I think this could be the new go-to 4-inch size cinematic freestyle frame. With the dead cat configuration, no props in view, we get beautiful footage, and if you do have a crash, it is definitely built sturdy enough so that it doesn't smash into a million pieces. So a great job there from FlyFish on the VD4. If you do want to pick one of these frames up, I will leave it linked in the video description. That will be an affiliate link, so if you choose to buy using that link, I get a small commission. It's just a nice way of helping to support the channel. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, do me a favor and hit the like button down below. Subscribe for more content like this in the future. Have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.